Hi, everybody. This is Lowell with another thought about creativity and particularly music creativity. Uh, as a composer, I work with these concepts all the time, and I'm just trying to share my process and my way of thinking about creativity. So, we've talked about starting from a seed concept or a seed idea, and then developing that through motivic development and letting the idea come forward without any kind of editing, and getting a sketch of the idea, getting an overview of the idea, and then filling in a lot of the missing ingredients, a lot of the things that augment the original idea. And now I want to talk about a little bit about editing and refining. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to edit and refine while you're creating. Uh, you want to get the idea out. You want to allow the idea to spring forth, and not self edit. I've seen some people just struggle over writing thank you notes. It's just funny. I mean, I can just sit down and write out things very easily because I don't take a self-editing mindset about anything that I'm doing when I'm creating. And then once you get the idea out, then you can refine. You can go into the fine tuning. What I try to never do in that process is to try to tweak the original seed idea. Basically, if you want to say, I'm a big proponent of original inspiration. Like, I want to keep the original moment of inspiration that I had, that all the other ideas sprang forth. It's kind of like altering the DNA. You don't want to alter the DNA. You want to let the DNA stand on its own and not question it, just let it be. But all the other elements of refinement, it's kind of like I liken it to a building or a structure going up. You get your main concepts, your foundation set, and that, to me, the foundation is the seed idea or the DNA of the piece. And then you have your walls go up. You really don't want to be shifting and changing walls after the fact. But what you do want to do is maybe you can tweak, the decor a little bit. You can tweak. You don't want to tweak major ideas. You want to tweak just kind of preferences. It's like, well, I would prefer that this be bigger here, so how I'm going to, make it bigger. I feel like there could be a little bit more space here, a little more breathing room between these, two different ideas. How can I create that space? Maybe it could be thinner. Maybe it's too complex. Maybe it's, we need to pull out of it things that don't need to be there to make the idea cleaner and clearer. Maybe one part is for a certain instrument, and it really, would sound better if it were in another instrument, or maybe a doubling scenario, or maybe augmenting the low range, to add. For example, doesn't have to be symphonic, but if you were writing symphonic music, then let's say you wanted a greater depth in the low range, and so you would add the string basses, either putting them down an octave or using them more in terms of the low range. You want more sparkle, and so you add a celeste, with the flute part, or just any number of ideas. But you're not messing with the actual foundation of everything that you've already set. And no, there's no such thing as a perfect creation. There's no such thing as a perfect piece that you've created. It's one of the greatest composers at Juilliard, Samuel Adler. I sent some works of mine to him, for his critique, and he gave me some ideas and so forth. And Of course, he was positive as well. But he said, just don't go back and try to rewrite. Just take the next step and write something new. Just keep moving forward. And this is kind of a silly, you know, I had kids, and we would watch the shows that they would watch, and one of the shows that we saw was Finding Nemo, and there's one little quote that I like in there of Dory when they're swimming through the dark, going down farther down into the deep, and she just sings, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming," just. So just keep creating, keep moving forward. Don't get stuck in the weeds of editing and redoing and trying this, that, and the other thing. That goes for also for engineering. When you're in the studio and you just keep fine tuning and fine tuning and fine tuning, and there's no end to how much you can just keep tweaking. And in the end, it's really. I'll finish with this story. There was a John Maxwell story that he talks about in one of his books of two different pottery classes, and one pottery class was told to. The goal was to make the best pottery class, the very best pottery. And so one class was told, okay, you're just going to zero in and refine. It doesn't matter how much, what you do, you're just going to refine and refine that one piece of pottery and get it as good as you can do. And the other class just made as many works of pottery as they could. They just kept going and doing lots of them. And so the question was, well, which class ended up making the very best pottery? And the answer was the one that just kept pushing them out, because they would learn every time they would do something and they would get better at it. And so the moral of that story is just keep using the gift of creativity and keep going, and don't get stuck in the weeds with trying to make it as perfect as you can make it. Just enjoy the process of creativity. A lot of times I've found that the very first takes, the very first ideas, and even though they're just raw and maybe are flawed in various ways, that they're the most authentic. They're the most they convey the most meaning. And so there is a place for editing. Definitely, there's a place for fine tuning. Cleaning it up, making your best presentation. But in the end, that's not the goal. The goal is authenticity and creating.